Welcome to this week's Dream Card judging video here at BOTB. We'd now like to hand over to today's lawyer from Onside Law who'll oversee the proceedings.
My name's Alex Martin from Onside Law and I'll be overseeing the judging this morning. Firstly, I can confirm that the competition data has already been sent to the auditing company Assets. I would now like today's judges to introduce themselves and, using the secure link provided, mark on the screen where they think the centre of the ball should be. The group will then come to a final panel decision.
Good morning, my name's Matt Cannon. I'm a senior county referee and footballer.
Hi, my name's Renee Hector. I'm a coach for Watford FC Women's Development and I coach for Tottenham Hotspur Foundation.
My name's Liam Walsh. I'm a retired referee, currently an FA observer and head coach for the Middlesex Referees Academy.
Hi, I'm Jenna Scalacci, retired professional footballer. I'm now operations manager for Tottenham Women's Academy team.
Hi, my name is Chloe Morgan. I'm an ex-player for Crystal Palace Women.
Good morning, my name is Alain Goma. I'm an ex-professional football player, having played for Paris Saint-Germain, Newcastle and Fulham.
Hello, my name's Wendy Martin and I previously played for Tottenham Hotspur and currently play beach soccer for Great Britain and England.
Good morning, my name's Andy Braithwaite and I'm a football referee, mentor and licensed observer.
Judges, please now come to a final panel decision. For your reference, the larger white cross is the calculated average of the 8 individual selections.
Thank you very much, Alex. Good morning, everybody. As ever, I'm going to pick on one of you. Jenna, it's your turn today. Yours, the dark blue cross there. Before, could you explain how you reached your decision? If you could let us know what you're seeing in the photograph, what you think's happening, trajectory of the ball, and then get to your choice, please.
Yeah, sure. So 2 players in shot and probably 2 good eyes on the blue player and then just the one on the player in red and white there. For me, I felt the ball was dropping in between the 2 players. Player in blue, for me, I felt he was a bit probably not favourite to win it. I think the red was the favourite to win the ball in this occasion. I think the player in blue is a bit back where the ball is in front of both players. For me, I think he was just trying to put the player off in red. I took a lot from the player in red here, his body shape. For me, I felt like he's opened his body up for the ball to run across him. I think he was using his left arm there just as a barrier between the player and the ball to protect the ball coming in. I felt he was kind of on the move, whereas the player in blue was a bit more static. So yeah, I felt that the player in red was just opening his body there, making a bit of contact for the ball to run across him and carry on his run. I'd taken the eye lines of the player in blue there. I felt he was leaning back slightly, a little bit off balance. Couldn't see any whites under either player's eyes, so I felt the ball was quite close to the players there. And then I've just used the good eye of the player in red to match the 2 lines there, and that's where I've put my point.
Yeah, and can I just clarify, the ball you said is dropping in between them, but I assume you mean from right to left as we're looking at it, so yeah. It comes across the player in red. Okay,
yeah, that's it, right.
That's great. Thanks, Jenna. So I'll draw some lines up first from the player in red, and as you said, Jenna, there's one good eye from him, so I'll use that for both trajectories, top and bottom. And then we've got 2 good eyes from the player in blue. And we've got a slightly wider view. I'll come to my own next. There's the red cross there, slightly closer to the blue player than yours, Jenna. I felt slightly differently from you. I thought the ball was actually dropping towards the player in blue, and to my mind, that the red player just turned to watch the ball coming in. And as you said, the player in blue is off balance to me, and I think he may have been, the player in red may be trying to shove him out the way. He looks like a stronger player. And I also thought the ball was out in front of them. So the blue player is looking up, so the ball is closer to us. So I thought personally that the blue player was favourite. and I've gone a little bit closer to him because his mouth's pursed and looking up, and I've gone slightly low. I just thought this player, I sort of took a trajectory sort of 45 degrees from his head, and I came to that conclusion there. So I actually thought that the blue player was favourite, but I'm sure we're all going to have our own opinions. So I'll go back to the other side where Jenna is. I'll come to you, Anna. No, sorry, that's wrong. Andy, that's it, the light pink cross there, just to the right of Jenna's. How did you see it?
Thanks, Matt. A bit of a mixture of both of what you've both said so far. I sort of almost fully agree with Jenna's description in regard to what's happening as we see in the picture. But then with your little added point at the end, I do feel it's more heading for blue. But the reason that I've got the height, same as Jenna, is I just feel that the guy in red and white, his brow's a little bit furrowed. He's just squinting slightly upwards. And the guy in blue, as she rightly said, his head is slightly tilted back, and his eye line, just for me, gives it that little bit further up.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll come next to yours, Wendy. Yours closest to the red player, just below the trajectory of Andy and Jenna's. How did you reach your decision?
I felt the player in red was favourite to win the ball. I think his body language is open, he's focused on the ball, and I think he's looking maybe to let the ball run across his body, maybe sort of just touch it onto the chest as it's coming over, or sort of just let it run across in front of him. And I think he's holding the player in blue off to stop him from being able to compete for the ball, which is why I put it just a little bit further towards the player in red, as I think he's favourite to win the ball. And again, I took the eye lines from both players, as I felt the player in red was favourite to win the ball. I sort of focused on his focus on the ball.
Yeah, and again, you're thinking the ball is coming right to left across the picture.
Right to left. Maybe sort of, maybe not from a direct shot, maybe a sort of bouncing ball, but still coming from right to left, and it's going to be running across the player in red.
Yeah, understand. Yeah. Thank you. And Rennie, you're on the same trajectory as Wendy's, but a little bit further away from the player in red. There you are, your green cross. Do you agree with that?
My first thoughts was actually, I think the opposite, and that's purely because of the player in blue's body position. I actually think the ball's coming into to him purely because he's sort of leaning back, his lips are pursed. Looks as if he's sort of getting himself ready to go and head the ball, basically. So I felt like the ball was coming from left to right as we see it on the screen, and it had maybe gone past the player in red, and the player in blue was going to meet it. So obviously I just cross-referenced their eye lines and came to that decision for the ball to be right.
Yeah, great. Thank you. And then we'll move over to the other side of the calculated average. So you're next, Liam, the yellow cross. How did you reach your decision here?
Yes, thanks, Matt. I agree with your overall opinion regarding that. What Rennie just said as well is the ball dropping into the blue, but I really did like Jenna's, explanation as well. And it's interesting getting that, a player's perspective, with what a player thinks on the judging panel as well. So I found that interesting this morning. But regarding the cross, I've gone for clear eye line from the guy in red. We've got one really good clear eye, focus through the ball. He's nice, head still. But just he's got the furrowed brow, so that gave me the elevation from him. And then regarding the guy in blue, again, he's dropping back, brow furrowed, and he's got that, the expression on his mouth lends me to have it that it's not a 45-degree angle from his body. It's just got, again, that little bit of elevation to it, and that's where the line's crossed.
Great, thank you. And we'll drop down to yours, Anna. You're a little bit lower and to the right from Liam's and myself's. Did you agree with that?
Thanks, Matt. I do agree that I think, from my opinion, I think the ball is coming from the left from the screen. I don't think the play in red and white is going to challenge the ball. I think he's reacting probably to a deflection or maybe misjudged the ball, the trajectory of the ball. And I thought the play in blue is coming behind. The ball is slightly in front of him, and I think he's going to power through this ball. In terms of eye lines, I thought the play in red and white was looking up, but quite shallow. Whilst the play in blue was looking a bit steeper.
Yeah, thank you very much. And last but not least is yours, Chloe. You're just the right of our land zone choice. How did you reach your decision?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I think I felt quite similarly to Alain in the sense that I felt the ball was coming in from left to right, sort of fairly steeply for the blue player to head. And I think I took that from the blue player's body language. To me, he's sort of leaning back slightly. His neck is fairly rigid, as if he's anticipating the impact of the ball, and his mouth is sort of fairly open. So I didn't have that the ball was running across the red, but rather that the blue was favourite to head that, and that the red player had maybe not anticipated correctly, or the ball had come over him and he was reacting to that. I think from the player in red, I agree with Alan in terms of the flatness of his eye line across. Whilst his forehead's quite furrowed, his head is sort of fairly flat. So I think I've gone lower down than a few of the judges. And then taking the sort of, again, the height context, I felt the ball was probably dropping in to be headed. So it had to be coming in sort of fairly steeply to be hitting him on the forehead. So, that was my thoughts on the cross.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to draw a couple more lines in from each player through this calculated average. And from this calculated average, from the player in red, we've got 4 either in line, or 2 in line and 2 above, and then we have 4 below. And again, from this player, we've got a sort of a majority just above it, so slightly steeper look up from this player. I'll remove them just to make it look a bit less messy. So if I put the magnifier over the calculated averages, we have it here. You'll see Wendy's is popping out to the left, but not completely outside. If I was to remove Wendy's, then we have the calculated average comes a little bit further to the right and is a little bit more central, and it has a narrower view up from the player in blue. So I'm actually going to come, I'm not going to remove it a lead judge because it's not completely outside. And as we see, we've got a little bit of Chloe's popping out on the right as well. But I want to go to a panel vote to see whether we prefer the calculated average a little bit further over to the right, as I've seen it here with Wendy's removed, or indeed you prefer the calculated average where it is with Wendy's choice taken into consideration as well. So Rennie, I'll come to you first.
Could you show me it without Wendy's crossing for a second, please? To be honest, I don't dislike it with Wendy's in, and obviously it brings the cross closer to my own. However, when Wendy's is removed, it does bring it back probably to more of in the middle of the main cluster. So if I'm honest, I'm a little bit on the fence here.
Yeah, but it is where the calculated average. Sorry to interrupt. It is where the calculated average turns up, and it does obviously move. It's not to do with whether Wendy's choice is incorrect or not, or because it's her own opinion, which is obviously as valid as anyone else's. That.
Yeah, no, of course. I'm just. I think probably I would remove Wendy's just because her cross is nearly all outside the average, whereas everybody else's is pretty much still encompassed.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you. Liam?
Although I think that, apologies, Wendy, although I think your explanation was really good, and I referred to the fact of, the elevation from the guy in blue, the sight line. I feel that to remove, please, Matt, because it just brings it in tighter to the cluster. It's unfortunate. It's a good position. It's a good explanation, but as we've done in the past, it brings it into the tight bunch.
Yeah. So thank you. Jenna?
I would keep Wendy's in. I think obviously it's closer to mine, and I think it's not way out of the cluster of crosses that we've got there. So I'd keep her in.
Yeah, thank you. Chloe?
Thanks, Matt. I think I'd probably vote to have Wendy's out, only because it brings the average closer.
Yeah, thank you.
To my own, and in keeping with the
Yeah, sorry. I think I would have Wendy's cross removed. I think it brings the average closer to my cross also.
Yeah, thank you. Andy?
I would leave it in because the average for me is better where it is now.
Okay, so from a panel vote of 5-2 with my own for removal, we're going to remove Wendy's as a panel. And I'm going to just undo that last line and draw another line up. And we can see that it's quite a narrow band up from this player in blue. And personally, I think higher, it just suits him better, but that's just, again, a personal view. So Alex, after a panel vote, the panel's decided to judge at this calculated average with Wendy's own choice being removed. That shifts the average a little bit further up and to the right.
Thank you. If you're all happy, then please click submit. Thank you, judges. The coordinates selected are X2695, Y1264. These coordinates will now be passed to the auditing company assets to calculate the winner of the competition, and they will then inform BOTB. That concludes the judging process. Thank you.